Many of you ask yourselves why, even when you work hard, some doors seem to stay closed, chances seem to disappear, and an unseen weight appears to follow you everywhere. Sometimes the reason is not a lack of effort. Sometimes your body, your mind, and your daily habits are simply asking for care. What you place into your body can influence your energy, your focus, and the way you move through life. Today I want to share with you one simple food and a weekly practice connected to ancient wisdom and personal discipline. It can become a reminder to step away from fear, strengthen your body, and break the chains of hopelessness and lack that can keep you feeling trapped. When we talk about protection, overcoming negative influences, and rising above difficult seasons, we must first understand the vessel we live in during this life, our body. Too often people think of their body as only skin, bone, and muscle, something that simply carries them through the physical world. But your body is far more important than that. It is a living home. It is where your thoughts, emotions, habits, and daily choices come together. It is where your strength is built or slowly drained. And when you care for this vessel, you create a stronger foundation for everything else you want to accomplish. The mistake many people make is believing that every battle is won through effort alone or simply by forcing themselves to stay strong. But many struggles become easier when your inner foundation is healthy and steady. If your body is exhausted, neglected, or constantly filled with habits that leave you feeling worse, then even ordinary problems can feel overwhelming. When you eat, when you breathe, when you drink, you are caring for the physical foundation that supports your mind and your daily life. Every bite matters in some way. Some foods can leave you feeling heavy, tired, or uncomfortable, while balanced and nourishing foods can help you feel lighter, clearer, and more focused. This does not mean that a single food has magical power or that eating it can literally remove supernatural forces. It means that intentional choices can influence how you feel and how you respond to the world around you. For centuries, elders, families, and spiritual communities have understood that food can represent much more than survival. Food can represent gratitude. Food can represent discipline. Food can represent renewal. And when you approach it with awareness, even an ordinary meal can become a meaningful reminder that you are responsible for caring for the vessel you have been given. Stay with me, because the deeper meaning of this practice is more powerful than the food itself. Think of your body as a sacred house. If you lived in a house, would you allow dirt to pile up everywhere? Would you knowingly bring harmful things inside and then wonder why the rooms no longer feel peaceful? Of course not. Yet many people unknowingly do something similar with their bodies every day. They ignore their sleep, they ignore their stress, they ignore their nutrition. They fill their minds with fear and their routines with habits that leave them drained. Then they ask why they feel weary, why they struggle to think clearly, and why they cannot rise higher. Your body responds to how you treat it. It needs rest, it needs movement, it needs nourishment, it needs clean water, it needs moments of quiet. It also needs boundaries against the constant noise that can scatter your attention. To protect yourself, you must respect this vessel. You must see it as more than something that exists for taste, comfort, or survival. You can honor it as a temple of your daily life, a temple that deserves cleansing through healthy habits, strengthening through good nourishment, and protection through wise choices. When you begin to eat with awareness, when you start seeing food as something that supports both physical health and emotional balance, you may notice changes in the way you carry yourself. Your concentration may improve, your energy may become steadier, your sleep may feel more restorative, your thoughts may become less scattered, and that inner steadiness can make you feel stronger when life becomes difficult. This is where the practice becomes important. Instead of eating without thought, create one moment each week when you slow down and become intentional. Choose nourishing food, drink water, give thanks, take a few quiet minutes. Reflect on what you are carrying and what you are ready to release. Negative experiences, fear, financial stress, disappointment, and difficult relationships can all make life feel spiritually heavy. But you do not have to give those things unlimited control over your mind. You can begin rebuilding your strength through simple actions. Witchcraft, curses, or evil spirits may be part of some people's spiritual beliefs, But you should not assume that every illness, financial problem, strange feeling, or difficult season is caused by supernatural forces. Real problems often have real causes, and they deserve practical attention. If you are sick, seek proper medical care. If you are struggling financially, make a plan. If anxiety is overwhelming you, speak with someone you trust. Spiritual practices can provide comfort and meaning, but they should work alongside wisdom, not replace it. Your strength grows when faith and responsible action move together. That is the deeper protection. It is not fear. It is awareness. It is discipline. It is refusing to let darkness, whether understood spiritually or emotionally, control the direction of your life. Even something as simple as drinking clean water with gratitude can help you pause and reset your attention. The same can be true of a nourishing food chosen intentionally once a week. You are not feeding fear. You are feeding discipline. You are creating a moment that tells your mind, I care about this body. I care about this life. I will not treat myself as if I do not matter. When you approach food with faith and awareness, it becomes more than something placed on a plate. It becomes part of a routine of self-respect. Eating this way once a week can become a personal ritual of realignment. It is a way of saying, my body matters, my peace matters, my energy matters. I will not knowingly fill my life with what weakens me. And notice the difference. You are no longer living from fear. You are living from intention. You are no longer searching for an invisible enemy behind every problem. You are strengthening the things you can control. If you are preparing for a difficult journey, you would not knowingly leave with broken shoes, an empty bag, and no preparation. You would prepare your body. You would prepare your mind. You would gather what you need. Yet many people move through life exhausted and scattered, then become surprised when ordinary challenges feel like arrows striking them from every direction. This practice is about rebuilding that armor through healthy choices, steady thinking, and purposeful living. Once you understand this, you stop eating without thought. You stop seeing food as only taste or survival. You begin seeing every choice as part of the person you are becoming. And that is where the real transformation begins. You begin to eat with respect, with gratitude, and with awareness of what you are bringing into yourself. When you practice this, you may begin to notice the heaviness lifting. You may feel the chains of lack becoming weaker. You may sense a greater distance between yourself and the negativity that once consumed your attention. This is where the journey begins. Treating your body as something sacred changes the way you treat your life. Only when the vessel is cared for and made strong can your inner light truly shine. Throughout history, people have understood that food is more than simple survival. Across cultures and traditions, there have been sacred meals, rituals, prayers, and offerings connected to the spirit. Bread shared around a family table, rice placed at sacred places, herbs used during prayer. These practices were not always meaningless. The people of the past understood something that many people today have forgotten. Food can carry meaning, memory, and symbolism. It can influence how we feel, how we think, and how we approach the sacred moments of life. What you eat can support your sense of clarity and strength, or it can leave you feeling heavy and drained. This is why wise people have always paid attention to what they consumed. They taught that food was not only connected to physical health, but also to discipline, gratitude, and spiritual practice. And if you stay with me, you will see why this simple idea can completely change the way you look at your next meal. If you look closely, everything around you is part of the natural world. A tree grows from the earth. A river moves through the land. A stone carries the history of the place where it was formed. Food also comes from this living system. It is not simply calories written on a label. It comes from sunlight, soil, water, air, and human care. Some foods are fresh and nourishing. Others are heavily processed and may leave you feeling sluggish when eaten too often. When you place food into your body, you are taking in its physical qualities and experiencing its effects on your body and mind. That is why some meals can leave you calm and satisfied, while others may disturb your comfort or sleep. Some foods can help support steady energy, while others can leave you feeling tired soon afterward. Ancient people often describe these experiences through the language of spirit, balance, and inner harmony. They saw eating as part of the way a person maintained their strength and presence. Stories were passed down about warriors eating certain roots or herbs before battle. believing these foods gave them courage and protection. Mothers prepared herbs for their children as part of nighttime traditions and prayers. Whether every old story was literally true is another question, but the lesson remains powerful. People understood that what they consumed could affect how they felt and how they faced danger, and that wisdom still has value today when we apply it with balance and common sense. When you eat without care, food becomes nothing more than a response to hunger, craving, or routine. You reach for something because it is convenient. You finish it quickly. Then you move on without asking how it made you feel. But when you eat with awareness, the experience changes. You slow down. You notice the taste. You appreciate where the food came from. You listen to how your body responds. You begin to understand which foods help you feel energized and which ones make you feel uncomfortable or tired. This awareness can also become part of your spiritual practice. After a nourishing meal, you may feel more focused. Your thoughts may settle. Your meditation may feel easier. Your prayer may feel more peaceful. Your energy may remain steadier during a difficult day. You are not magically changing the laws of nature. You are creating better conditions for your body and mind to function well. Think of your inner being like a lamp. Food can be part of the fuel that supports that lamp, while sleep, movement, peace, and healthy habits also keep it burning. When the fuel is balanced and the lamp is cared for, the flame can remain steady. When your habits are chaotic and your body is constantly neglected, that flame may feel weaker. Every day and every week, you make choices about what you place into your life, and those choices slowly shape the person you become. Remember this, because the next part is where intention becomes just as important as the meal itself. Modern life has made many people forget how powerful simple awareness can be. In the rush to fill the stomach, people often eat while distracted, stressed, or exhausted. They consume heavily processed foods again and again, then wonder why they feel sluggish, uncomfortable, or disconnected from themselves. The answer is not always mysterious. Sometimes the body is simply asking for better care. When you constantly fill yourself with foods that do not support your well-being, you may feel that emptiness more deeply. But when you choose fresh, nourishing foods connected to the earth, you are giving your body materials it can actually use. You are returning to something simple. Food from the soil. Food grown through sunlight and water. Food prepared with care. And there is another deeper truth here: intention. The way you approach a meal can matter greatly to your experience of it. Imagine two people eating the same piece of fruit. One person eats it quickly, distracted, and barely noticing it. The other pauses, gives thanks, appreciates the fruit, and eats slowly. The physical food may be identical, but their experience is completely different. One person simply satisfies hunger, the other creates a moment of gratitude and awareness. This is one reason people throughout history prayed before meals. They blessed their food, they expressed thanks, they recognized that receiving nourishment could also become a moment of reflection. And that simple practice can still bring meaning into your life today. The food we are speaking about now is not only about taste, tradition, or personal preference. It is about returning to the old wisdom of being intentional with what enters your body. Your body and your inner life are connected through your daily habits. When you choose nourishing food once a week with intention, you create a meaningful pause in your routine. It can become a personal reminder. I choose purity. I choose discipline. I choose peace. I choose to care for myself. And when you begin living this way, something inside you can shift. Negativity may become easier to recognize and release. Financial fear may no longer control every decision. Difficult thoughts may no longer have the same power over your attention. You become less empty because you are actively building yourself. Food supports the body, while gratitude supports the mind and spirit. What you repeatedly choose becomes part of what you grow into. There is a reason spiritual traditions across the world have focused on rhythm, repetition, and ritual. It is not because repeating an action forces the universe to obey. It is because consistency trains the person performing the action. One act may inspire you for a moment, but an act repeated with awareness can become a habit, and a habit can become part of your character. This is why a weekly meal can be more than just another meal. It can become a cycle that reminds your body, mind, and spirit to return to balance. Stay with me, because this is the part most people miss. Transformation rarely arrives like lightning. The modern mind often wants instant results. People want to eat something one time and wake up the next morning with every problem gone. They want one ritual to erase years of fear, poor habits, financial pressure, or emotional exhaustion. But real strength rarely develops that way. Strength is built slowly. It grows through repetition, discipline, patience, and wise choices. A muscle becomes stronger because it is trained again and again. Knowledge becomes deeper because it is studied repeatedly. Peace becomes more familiar when you practice returning to it. In the same way, a spiritual routine can become meaningful when it is repeated with sincere awareness. By giving one day each week to this practice, you create more than a meal. You create a reminder. You create a moment when you stop, breathe, give thanks, and remember that your body deserves care. You are not trying to live in fear of invisible forces. You are choosing to become stronger than fear. You are not searching for an enemy behind every closed door. You are building the wisdom to deal with what is actually in front of you. And this distinction matters. If you are facing illness, seek medical help. If you are facing financial hardship, take practical steps. If your mind is overwhelmed, reach for trusted support. Faith can strengthen you, but wisdom must guide you. This weekly practice can become one small part of a larger life of discipline, prayer, nourishment, and purposeful action. So when you sit down to eat, do not rush. Look at what is before you. Give thanks. Eat with awareness. Let that moment remind you that your body is worth protecting, your peace is worth guarding, and your future is worth building. And once you understand that, you will never look at an ordinary meal in quite the same way again. Light around your life begins with what you repeat. When you repeat and act with awareness, you are weaving meaning and intention into your life, the way threads are woven into cloth. One thread can break easily, but thread after thread becomes strong fabric, and strong fabric can cover you from cold, from harm, and from the wind. The same idea applies here. Eating this food once a week can become a practice that weaves discipline and protection into the fabric of your daily life. At first, you may not notice a major change. Do not become discouraged. As the weeks pass, the habit becomes stronger, your awareness becomes deeper, and your commitment becomes harder to break. There is also something meaningful about the rhythm of 7 days. A week gives people a natural pattern for work, rest, reflection, and renewal. Just as the earth moves through seasons, just as the moon changes, and just as the body restores itself through cycles of activity and rest, the human spirit can also benefit from healthy patterns. Eating this food once a week is not only about feeding yourself, it is about creating a steady rhythm that brings balance and stability into your life. Many people never realize how powerful small, consistent actions can become. They chase dramatic moments. They wait for rare miracles, but they forget that real strength is often built quietly, little by little. Stay with me, because this simple principle can change the way you understand consistency. Think about water slowly carving through stone. Think about roots pushing through hard ground. These changes do not happen in one moment, yet their power is undeniable. In the same way, your weekly practice may seem simple, even ordinary, but over months and years, it can shape your habits, your confidence, and your outlook in a deep way. The act itself is simple. Sit with intention, eat slowly, pay attention, give thanks. Recognize that this moment is more than simply satisfying hunger. It is a reminder to care for yourself and strengthen your inner foundation. The discipline is not in doing it one time. The discipline is in returning to it each week, just as a person plants seeds in the soil and continues to care for them. Seeds need time. No wise farmer plants today and demands a harvest tomorrow. The farmer prepares the soil, plants carefully, gives water, protects the growing crop, waits patiently, and eventually the harvest comes. Your weekly practice can become a seed of peace, a seed of confidence, a seed of freedom, and a seed of better habits. The deeper power is not simply in the food itself, it is in the commitment behind the action. Every time you keep the practice, you are making a declaration to yourself, I am committed to caring for my body. I am committed to building a better life. I am committed to walking in clarity and light. Repeat that commitment, and slowly it becomes part of who you are. There is another important truth here. Disorder can make life feel weak and scattered. Chaos, carelessness, and neglect often create more problems, while rhythm, order, and discipline create stability. When you maintain a healthy weekly rhythm, you give your life structure. You become more grounded. You become more deliberate. You become less controlled by random impulses. Think of this practice like a steady drum beat. One beat sounds and then disappears. But a steady beat creates rhythm that the whole body can recognize. Soon your actions begin moving with that rhythm. That is why one simple practice, repeated faithfully, can be more meaningful than 100 careless actions performed without consistency. Over time, you may notice changes within yourself. You may feel more organized. Your thoughts may become clearer. Your sleep may improve because you are building better routines. Your heart may feel calmer because you are giving yourself moments of reflection. When negativity appears, you may find that it does not control you in the same way. It can feel like an inner wall has become stronger between you and the things that once disturbed your peace. That wall is built through repeated choices. Every week gives you another opportunity to strengthen it. The strength is not in fear. The strength is in rhythm, awareness, and discipline. And there is an even deeper lesson when we talk about poverty and abundance. Many people think poverty means only having little money. But the experience of lack can also affect the way a person thinks, hopes, and makes decisions. A person may have very little financially and still carry courage, wisdom, generosity, and hope within them. Another person may have money in their hands but live every day in fear that it will disappear. This is why financial well-being is not only about the amount in your bank account. It is also connected to habits, beliefs, decisions, opportunities, discipline, and the way you respond to setbacks. When we speak about eating this food weekly, we should not imagine that one meal can magically remove financial hardship or guarantee wealth. Instead, let the meal become a reminder to break patterns of helplessness and scarcity. Lack can become a mental loop. You work without seeing progress. You try again and again. Doors close. Disappointment grows. Eventually, you begin expecting failure before you even begin. It can feel like walking with ropes around your feet. Your strength is still there, but every step feels harder. Food has always carried powerful meaning in human life when it comes to provision and plenty. Think about harvest celebrations, family feasts, bread shared among communities, and crops gathered after months of work. These traditions remind people that provision is something to appreciate and protect. When you eat with gratitude, you can use that moment to remind yourself that scarcity does not define your entire future. You can receive nourishment while also choosing hope, responsibility, and action. This is where the idea of abundance becomes practical. When you eat with the awareness that you want to move beyond lack, you are not simply filling your stomach. You are reinforcing a mindset of gratitude and possibility. You are telling yourself, I am ready to learn. I am ready to grow. I am ready to recognize opportunities. I am ready to manage what I receive wisely. What blocks progress is not always a lack of opportunity. Sometimes fear, exhaustion, poor planning, unhealthy habits, or a belief that nothing will ever change can keep a person trapped in the same cycle. Some people work extremely hard, but have never been taught how to manage money, build useful skills, recognize opportunities, or recover from setbacks. Others have resources, but make decisions from fear and lose what they have. This is why alignment should mean bringing your thoughts, habits, actions, and goals into the same direction. If you believe you deserve a better future, your daily choices must begin supporting that belief. If you want greater financial stability, create a budget, learn a skill, save when possible, avoid unnecessary debt, seek good opportunities, ask for wise guidance. And when you face spiritual fear, remember that not every closed door is a curse, and not every hardship is caused by an unseen force. Sometimes life is simply difficult. Sometimes a practical solution is needed. Faith can give you courage, but wisdom helps you decide what to do next. This weekly meal can become a reminder that your future is built through both inner strength and practical action. Now picture your body and your life as something that can become stronger through care. A neglected object gathers dust. A neglected routine becomes weaker. But something maintained regularly stays ready. The same is true of your habits, your finances, your relationships, and your inner life. Scarcity can feel like rust because it builds slowly. Fear adds another layer. Doubt adds another. Procrastination adds another. Before long, the person begins believing that opportunities are no longer meant for them. But rust can be removed. Habits can change. Skills can be learned. Confidence can return. You do not have to remain trapped inside yesterday's patterns. The weekly practice is a symbol of that decision. Each time you sit down with gratitude, you remind yourself that change is possible. Each time you choose nourishment instead of neglect, you are making a small investment in your future. Each time you return to the practice, you prove that you can keep a promise to yourself. And that is where the real power begins. It is not the food alone. It is not a mystical shortcut. It is the awareness behind the act, the discipline behind the routine, and the practical choices that follow it. If you approach the meal with fear and expect one bite to solve every problem, you may only create another superstition. But if you approach it with gratitude, attention, and a clear intention to care for yourself, it can become a meaningful spiritual and personal practice. Let the meal remind you to clean up your habits, strengthen your body, organize your life, and move toward greater stability. Your future does not have to remain chained to your past. The next week gives you another chance, then another, and another. That is how the fabric becomes stronger, one thread at a time.